4,500 years ago, someone stood on a plateau in Egypt and built a structure so precise that even modern engineers still pause when they measure it. The sides align almost perfectly with true north, south, east, and west. The base is level within fractions of an inch across acres of stone. Each block weighs several tons, and there are more than 2 million of them. And yet the people responsible for this were supposed to be working with copper tools, stone hammers, and ropes. No steel, no electricity, no engines, no computers. When American engineers began studying these monuments closely in the 20th century, many assumed the explanation would be straightforward. But the deeper they looked, the stranger the story became. Because scattered across Egypt are objects that don't behave like ordinary ancient artifacts. Granite drilled with spiraling grooves that resemble modern machine marks, stone vases so perfectly balanced they rival precision manufacturing, and temple carvings that appear to show something that looks remarkably like an electric light bulb glowing in the darkness of an underground chamber. The mystery is not simply how the pyramids were built. The real question is whether ancient Egypt possessed technological knowledge far more sophisticated than we have been taught to believe. The story begins long before the pyramids themselves, long before the towering monuments that dominate the skyline near modern Cairo. A civilization was already rising along the banks of the Nile River. Imagine standing on that riverbank 5,000 years ago. The desert stretches endlessly in every direction, but the Nile transforms the land into a ribbon of green life cutting through the sand. Farmers grow wheat and barley along the fertile soil. Boats drift slowly along the water, carrying goods from distant lands. Small towns begin to grow into cities, and over time, those cities unite under powerful rulers who would become known as pharaohs. For many Americans studying this history in school, ancient Egypt often appears as a distant and mysterious culture filled with gold masks and tombs. But for the people who lived there, it was a thriving and highly organized society. Administrators tracked harvests and taxes, architects planned temples and palaces, engineers designed irrigation canals that controlled the flooding of the Nile. It was not a primitive world, it was a sophisticated civilization built on knowledge passed down through generations. And it was in this environment that some of the most puzzling technologies of the ancient world began to appear. One of the earliest clues comes from a class of objects that at first glance appear quite ordinary: stone vases. Hundreds of them have been discovered in early Egyptian tombs dating back more than 5,000 years. Museums around the world display them quietly behind glass cases, often overlooked by visitors who are drawn instead to the golden treasures of later dynasties. But when engineers began studying these vessels more carefully, they noticed something remarkable. Many of them are carved from extremely hard stones such as diorite and granite. These materials are far tougher than the copper tools ancient Egyptians were believed to possess. And yet the vases are not crude or uneven, they're astonishingly precise. Modern scans reveal that some of these vessels are symmetrical to within tiny fractions of a millimeter. The walls are thin and perfectly balanced around their central axis. To produce an object like that today typically requires advanced machinery, such as a precision lathe. Yet these pieces were crafted thousands of years before such machines existed. Researchers have attempted to recreate them using replicas of ancient tools. The results are impressive, but rarely achieve the same level of perfection seen in the original artifacts, which raises an uncomfortable question. If copper chisels and stone hammers cannot easily produce these results, what exactly did ancient craftsmen use?
The deeper scientists look into Egyptian stonework, the more unusual details appear. In several archaeological sites, investigators have discovered granite blocks containing perfectly drilled holes. The holes descend into the stone with a smooth spiral pattern that resembles the marks left by modern rotary drills. Granite is an extremely hard rock, harder than many metals used in ancient tools. Cutting into it requires tremendous pressure and specialized equipment, yet the marks preserved in those ancient stones suggest a drilling process that advanced quickly and efficiently. When engineers measured the pitch of the spiraling grooves, they concluded that the drill must have penetrated the stone at a rate that would challenge even modern industrial tools. Some researchers argue that abrasive sand combined with copper drills could have produced these marks slowly over time. Others remain unconvinced because the grooves appear too regular, too smooth, and too consistent. They look as though they were created by machinery, but machinery of that kind is not supposed to exist in a civilization that predates iron tools by centuries. Then there are the pyramids themselves. The most famous of them all, the Great Pyramid at Giza, was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BCE. For nearly 4,000 years, it stood as the tallest man-made structure on Earth. Visitors today often underestimate its scale because photographs compress its immense size, but standing at its base tells a different story. Each block towers over a human being. The entire structure covers more than 13 acres of ground, and the stones fit together with extraordinary precision. In some places, the joints are so tight that not even a thin blade can slip between them. The alignment of the pyramid with the cardinal directions is also astonishingly accurate. Modern surveys reveal that its orientation deviates from true north by only a tiny fraction of a degree. Engineers today rely on advanced instruments to achieve that level of accuracy, but ancient Egyptian builders somehow managed it using tools far simpler. Scholars have proposed many explanations over the decades. Some believe workers used the stars as guides to align the structure with the heavens. Others suggest sophisticated surveying techniques using simple but clever instruments. Yet no single explanation fully satisfies every detail of the pyramid's construction. Transporting the building materials presented an even greater challenge. Many stones used in the Great Pyramid weigh 2 to 15 tons, while some internal granite blocks exceed 70 tons. These blocks were quarried hundreds of miles away near the city of Aswan. Somehow they were transported down the Nile, then hauled across desert terrain to the construction site. The traditional explanation involves large teams of workers pulling sledges across wet sand. Experiments have shown that wetting sand reduces friction, allowing heavy loads to move more easily. Ancient paintings also depict workers dragging statues on sledges while another person pours water ahead of them. This theory is plausible, yet it still leaves questions about how such massive stones were lifted into place high on the pyramid's rising structure. Over the years, researchers have proposed ramps, spiraling pathways, and internal corridors used to raise the blocks gradually as the pyramid grew taller. Each model explains part of the puzzle, but struggles with other aspects. The full picture remains elusive. Another mysterious element appears within the temple complex at Dendera, located far south of the pyramids. Inside the Temple of Hathor, carved into the stone walls, are unusual reliefs that have fascinated observers for decades. These carvings show elongated oval shapes with a serpent-like figure stretching inside them. The objects appear connected to a base or pillar beneath them. To many historians, these are symbolic depictions drawn from Egyptian mythology, representing the birth of a cosmic serpent. But to some modern viewers, the image looks strangely familiar. The shape resembles a large glass bulb, like those used in early electric lamps. The serpent inside appears almost like a glowing filament, and the pillar beneath the object resembles an electrical insulator. Most scholars reject the idea that ancient Egyptians possessed electric lighting, pointing out that the carvings are surrounded by mythological imagery. Still, the resemblance continues to spark curiosity, especially when paired with another question often asked by visitors to Egyptian tombs. If these chambers were decorated deep underground, how were artists able to paint detailed murals without leaving soot marks from torches? Archaeologists suggest they used reflective mirrors or oil lamps carefully managed to avoid smoke. Yet the absence of heavy soot remains one of those small details that keep the debate alive. While the pyramids and temples often dominate discussions of Egyptian technology, the civilization's knowledge extended into many other fields as well. Medicine in ancient Egypt was surprisingly sophisticated.
Medical texts written on papyrus reveal treatments for injuries, infections, and diseases that resemble early scientific practice. Egyptian physicians understood that the brain played a role in bodily function, though they also believed the heart was the center of thought and emotion. They performed surgeries to treat wounds and fractures. Some skulls discovered by archaeologists even show signs of successful healing after surgical procedures. Dentistry was practiced too, though not always successfully given the coarse grains present in ancient bread that wore down teeth. Perhaps the most remarkable medical achievement was mummification. This process involved removing internal organs, drying the body with natural salts, and wrapping it in layers of linen treated with resins and oils. The result was preservation so effective that bodies remain intact thousands of years later. Modern scientists studying these mummies continue to uncover clues about ancient diets, diseases, and genetic history. Chemistry also played a role in Egyptian craftsmanship. The pigments used in wall paintings were created from carefully prepared mineral compounds that have retained their vibrant colors for millennia. Blue pigments, known as Egyptian blue, were produced through complex heating processes that transformed raw materials into a stable synthetic pigment. Glass-making techniques also appeared in Egypt earlier than many historians once believed. Beads and small vessels made from glass-like materials demonstrate an understanding of heat and chemical reactions that required controlled furnaces and skilled artisans. Yet perhaps the most impressive examples of Egyptian engineering appear in the massive stone monuments known as obelisks. These towering pillars were carved from single pieces of granite quarried near Aswan. The largest known unfinished obelisk still lies in the quarry today. Had it been completed, it would have stood over 100 feet tall and weighed more than 1,000 tons. The process of carving such a monument from solid rock required immense skill and patience. Workers used stone pounding tools to gradually chip away the surrounding granite until the obelisk was freed from the bedrock. Once detached, it had to be transported hundreds of miles to cities such as Luxor or Heliopolis. There, it would be raised upright in front of temples dedicated to the gods. Even with modern machinery, this task would demand careful planning, yet the ancient Egyptians accomplished it repeatedly across centuries. As researchers continue studying these achievements, one theme appears again and again. The people of ancient Egypt were master observers of the natural world. They studied the movement of stars to create calendars that tracked seasons and floods of the Nile. They understood geometry well enough to design monumental architecture with precise angles and proportions. They experimented with materials, discovering how stone, metal, wood, and minerals behaved under different conditions. In other words, their technology was not based on electricity or engines, but on deep, practical knowledge developed over generations. Still, some mysteries remain stubbornly unresolved. Engineers examining ancient stonework occasionally encounter features that challenge conventional explanations. Perfectly flat surfaces carved into granite, cylindrical cores extracted from drilled holes that display spiraling patterns, vessels balanced so evenly they appear almost machine-made. None of these artifacts prove that lost advanced technology existed, but they remind us that history is often more complex than the simplified stories told in textbooks. It is possible that ancient craftsmen possessed techniques and tools that have simply been forgotten over time. As the sun sets over the pyramids today, casting long shadows across the desert, visitors often feel the same sense of wonder experienced by travelers centuries ago. These structures were built in a world without modern conveniences, yet they endure with a strength and precision that still commands respect. Perhaps the greatest lesson from the strange technology of ancient Egypt is not that the past was filled with mysterious machines or hidden science. It is that human ingenuity has always been capable of extraordinary achievements. Long before the modern age, people studied their environment carefully, experimented with materials, and developed solutions to challenges that seemed impossible. The monuments they left behind are reminders that knowledge does not always move in a straight line. Sometimes discoveries are lost, sometimes skills disappear, and sometimes the past holds secrets that future generations must rediscover. The ancient Egyptians built their world along a river that flowed through the desert, turning barren land into a thriving civilization. They carved temples that still stand beneath the open sky. They raised pyramids that have watched over the sands for thousands of years, and within those monuments lie clues about the remarkable minds who created them. The mystery may never be completely solved, but each new discovery brings us a little closer to understanding how an ancient civilization so ancient could leave behind technology and craftsmanship that continue to inspire curiosity today. If the story of these ancient builders teaches us anything, it is that history is not just a record of the past, it is a puzzle waiting to be explored. As we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos.